cactus and succulent growers, I'm Lynn. Welcome to Desert Plants of Avalon. And in today's video I'm going to be going through all of the different plant products that I use on my cacti and succulents to get rid of beasties on the plants. Now then guys, it's always annoying when we find pests on our plants. Most commonest ones will be mealybug and spider mite. And I've always been asked, what do you use to keep on track of mealybugs and spider mites? And this is a very special video request from my wonderful friend Sarah at Worth Valley Chihuahuas here on YouTube. So hi Sarah, and I said I'd do a complete video of all of the products that I like to use. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about the natural products that I like to use, which is always my first choice, and then the chemical products that sometimes I still have to use as my second choice, and all about them products. Now I have made numerous individual videos on especially all the natural products I like to use, including the rubbing alcohol, the neem oil, the diatomaceous earth, SB plant invigorator and others on this channel many times, and all of them videos are going to be linked up above. So if you want to know how I use them individual products, do go ahead and watch them videos after this one. So then guys, first of all I'm going to start off with the natural methods. So here we go. Now then, the first sort of pest products I want to start off with is all the natural methods, or as natural as they possibly can be, for preventing and getting rid of beasties on cacti and succulents. So I'm going to talk to you in sort of order I like to use them in as well. And I just want to mention this video is definitely not a selling video, but I do have some of these products on my Amazon Associates link via my website on the resources page. So if for example, the rubbing alcohol, SB plant invigorator, the neem oil, you want to know where to get them from, and if you click on the link via my website on the resources page, them links then are my Amazon Associates, so I get a wee bit of commission, which really does help me. But as I say, you can actually get these products from anywhere. You know, Amazon is the best place to get a lot of these. So then first of all, the one good thing I would not want to be without is my isopropyl alcohol. And this is absolutely brilliant. I use a brand by Hexseal, and again from Amazon, 99.9% on here. And I've made many videos on how I like to use rubbing alcohol to get rid of beasties on cacti and succulents, as well as all of these products. So when I'm talking about each individual product, I'll link up above 2 videos on how to use these products if you want more information on them. But briefly, with the rubbing alcohol, there's 2 ways I like to use this if I spot beasts on the cacti, particularly mealybugs. I would put a little bit into a little bowl with a little brush, a little tiny little brush, like a little artist brush, and I would then dip it into the rubbing alcohol, and then if I see any beasts, I will then dip the little brush and remove it. But if you want to know more about the rubbing alcohol and how I use it to get rid of mealybugs and other beasties on my cacti, then do go ahead and watch the video up above. I also like to put it into a little spray bottle as well and spray it on any cacti that are particularly hairy, that's difficult to sort of rub off with a little brush and the rubbing alcohol. But this is really good. It's very economical as well, lasts for absolutely ages. The next thing I love to use is neem oil. Now I use a brand by a Pink Sun here, organic neem oil, and I mix it with the horticultural soap. And again, I've made a complete video on how to use neem oil for getting rid of beasts on your plants, including how to use it as a soil drench as well, because it's very good to prevent things like root mealybugs as well as other sort of bugs that can live in the soils that are not good for your plants. Some little bugs in the soils can be good, but a lot of them are not, especially root mealybugs. And do go ahead and watch that video for lots more information on why I like to use neem oil and also how I use it as a soil drench and also as a foliar drench. It's very, very good, I find, for prevention for spider mites. Again, it's one that you have to keep on top of. I would use neem oil. I'd come in here during the spring and summer and once a month spray all of the cacti and the succulents with the neem oil. It really does help to keep particularly spider mite, I find, and mealybug as well, away. It's a very good prevention. But as I say, more in that video on why and how I use the neem oil as a prevention and treatment. So I'll link that video, as I mentioned, up above. The next thing will be SB Plant Invigorator. Now, I tend to use this more on my house plants, but occasionally I'll come into the polytunnel in the spring and summer and spray this as well as a bit of an extra treatment. I find it's personally one I don't use as much as the neem oil or the rubbing alcohol, because you have to, if you find pests already, you do have to keep repetitively using this. And in some cases I have noticed a little bit of scorch on the plants as well. So this is one I tend to use a lot more with my leafy house plants. But it's a good as an additional one. I find if you use a mixture of a few different products, it does work really well. This one has a bit of a growth stimulant as well in it, so it's a good bit of a booster, and it's also a great one to use during the spring and summer. I don't tend to use it on the cacti in the winter months because it is, when you spray it does stay damp, and as a result the damp liquid will sometimes drip into the soil on the cacti, and you want to keep them dry over the winter months. So this is one I would tend to use more spring and summer, but again, it's mostly on the house plants, but I do occasionally use it on the cacti. The next one will be, diatomaceous earth will be my next one, and this one is a very fine ground down powder, and it is actually the fossilized remains of diatoms that can be millions of years old. And this is actually very, very good. It's incredibly safe to use as well, because you just dust it on very lightly over the cactus, and as long as you reapply it sort of regularly, then it is a very, very good prevention, because the powder prevents the bugs from crawling across and spreading, and it also dries out any fleshy pests such as mealybug as well. I have made a complete video on why I like to use diatomaceous earth and also how I use it as well, so again, do check that video out. Links to that video will be up above. The next thing I like to do is these fly trap catchers, and these are really, really good. These you literally just stick here, you peel them off here like this, and you can stick them into individual pots. Again, I tend to use these more on my house plants, but you can also use them on the cacti pots as well. They're very, very good for catching them annoying scarabid flies, the fungus gnats as they're called. And although the fungus flies themselves are not necessarily a problem to adult plants, because they tend to attack more very frail, very weak roots such as young seedlings, they can be very disastrous for seedlings because they disturb the roots as they're moving about, and their little grubs can eat the fleshy roots as well, so they're a real pest. Plus, no one really wants flies all flying around everywhere, them little annoying flies. These will catch these and it breaks their cycle, and it can take a little bit of a while, but after a few weeks you'll notice that it will stop. So these are really good, again very good to use in house plants that tend to be more prone to getting these fungus flies than cacti do, because cacti tend to obviously not be so prone to them because they're kept drier and their soil is grittier. But seedlings that are watered regularly, that need to be kept damp, also seem to be a problem with these fungus flies. So these are really good for catching them. Now, another thing I like to use as well with seedlings, if I notice them fungus flies, as well as these little fly catchers here, is the hydrogen peroxide. And I use one that's been diluted down to 3%. And I would actually use a tablespoon of this 3% hydrogen peroxide with 500 millilitres of water, mix it up, put it into a watering can and water it into the soil, and that also can help kill them fungus flies as well. It's also very good for fungus issues as well. If you get fungus on seedlings, if you use it quick enough, when you water it, it will give off a bit of a fizzing noise, but this is a very good prevention, not only for fungus flies but for fungus on seedlings as well. So this is a good one. I've had this for about 2 years, and it is so economical, as is the diatomaceous earth. So this is all the natural products that I like to use, and as I've mentioned, I've made many videos on how I use these and a lot more information on them. So do check out the links I've got up above on this video if you want to know more information on these individual products. And I'm going to show you when chemical methods have to be used, what I like to use. Now, if the rubbing alcohol, the neem oil, the diatomaceous earth, the SB plant invigorator is still not doing its job and you're still finding pests, sometimes chemical methods, yes, I do have to use. So I'm going to show you, I've got 4 products and they all have different, they're all different in how effective they are. Now, spider mite, as I mentioned, I love to use the neem oil, and I find as long as I keep on top of that, it works very well at preventing and often treating spider mites. If, however, I have a very bad infestation, and spider mites, by the way, can just suddenly come on literally overnight, and you have to act fast. You don't necessarily have 2 or 3 weeks to keep repeating a natural treatment like neem oil to get rid of them. You have to act fast. Best thing I've ever found so far, Bug Clear Ultra. And I just want to mention, I don't know if some of these products are available in other parts of the world. I live here in Ireland, I'm in Northern Ireland, so it's part of the UK, and we can get these quite easily on Amazon. But I do know maybe in the States, many different chemicals are not legal now. They've been banned, but this is only what I can get still at the moment. Now this is Bug Clear Ultra. It's not a systemic, it's a contact insecticide. Note, I've made a little note because I get mixed up with all of these. Contact insecticide for spider mites. And I find it is absolutely brilliant. One spray, spider mites are gone. You will not see them the next day. So if you have to act quick because you see an infestation, you think the rubbing alcohol, the neem oil does take a few applications. But that's okay with a very mild infestation. If you need to get something quick and you've got to stop it spreading, this is brilliant. And you also need to treat all of the neighbouring plants as well. Don't just treat the plant you see the spider mite on. You have to act quick. And this works by smothering the spider mites and pretty much kills them. You repeat it again 2 weeks after to get rid of any that are still remaining. But it's absolutely brilliant. That's Bug Clear Ultra 2. The next thing I like to use then is Bug Clear. Now, this one again is a systemic because the other one is a contact, and it works very good. Well, sort of fairly good for mealybug. Mealybug is a tough one, and there's times I've even used rubbing alcohol, neem oil, diatomaceous earth, and even this Bug Clear, and they'll still remain. You still get them. It's a never-ending job. It's not. There's no such remedy to get rid of beasts on your plants. You just have to keep it as clean and as under control as you can. But this is also good, Bug Clear Ultra, and that kills bugs as well on contact, and it's a systemic, so it carries on working. Again, you do have to repeat it in a couple of weeks because it will have to work 2 applications for it to thoroughly work. Plant takes it up systemically, and it means then that any bugs that chew on the skin of the cactus and succulent, they will then die when they ingest it. And again, for mealybugs, systemic. I don't like to resort to this unless I really have to. So this is why I always like to use the natural methods. And I find if I keep up with the natural methods, I very rarely have to use Bug Clear Ultra. But there's times when I have to if nothing else works. So that's another one I sort of like here. So the reason why I have these 2 different Bug Clear Ultras, as I mentioned, the contact one works for spider mites, but the systemic one isn't for spider mites, so that's why you have to have 2. And when you're using these sprays, do not ever use it when it's sunny and warm, either very early in the morning or ideally last thing at night when the sun has gone out. I don't like to use these at all during the winter months like now. It's January, and that's because again, when you're spraying the plants with these sprays, it does make the plants wet, it does drip into the soil, and this is the time your plants need to be kept totally dry. This is when I like to use the diatomaceous earth and sprinkle them all with it to sort of prevent as much as possible. Whatever I've mentioned a lot in all of them videos. The next one is the Provanto Ultimate Bug Killer, and this one is one that is a contact as well. And this also has quite a good effect on spider mite. Not as good as Bug Clear Ultra in my opinion, but it still works well. This is actually more for thrips, because the Bug Clear Ultras, both of these, don't work on thrips. This one, Provanto, is the best one I've ever used for thrips. And thankfully cacti, in my experience, very, very rarely get thrips, except the epiphytic cacti, such as these epiphyllums here, the leafy cacti. They can get thrips. So this ultimate bug killer, the Provanto one, is very, very, very good. One application with this, thrips are gone. They recommend you repeat it twice, but I find the one application is very, very, very good. Thrips as well is so common on houseplants. My monsteras get it a lot, my tradescantias get it a lot. One treatment with this and it gets rid of them. It's absolutely brilliant. That's the Provanto Ultimate Bug Killer. Now the next one is not a pest treatment, but I just wanted to include it as well. This is Rose Clear Ultra. It's sort of the whole range. Very good fungicide. It's a copper-based one as well, so I would use this if I find any signs of rust and things like that on my plants, as well as I like to use the sulfur too. Now this is also a bug killer, so that's why I included it in this, but I don't tend to use it for bugs like green fly, black fly and things like that. Good in garden plants and house plants, but I tend to use the other ones for bugs, but thought I'd mention that as well because it's a good fungicide should you have fungus issues. So then hope you sort of enjoyed hearing about all the different treatments I would use on the cacti to prevent as much beasts as possible. As I say, I always prefer to use the natural methods, which I always recommend first before resorting to chemical methods. And plus a lot of these chemical treatments are getting very hard to get now, and the pests can become resistant to them, so natural is always best unless you have to resort to the chemical methods. And what do you use to prevent and treat pests on your cacti and succulents, guys? Let me know in the comments down below. And as I mentioned, some of the products I've recommended there, if you go onto my desertplantsofavalon.com website and check on the resources page, things like the neem oil, the rubbing alcohol and the SB plant invigorator, diatomacetate, will be the links there to get them on Amazon. And if you go through them links, I get a wee bit of percentage, so it does help me. Just thought I'd mention that, guys, but do get the treatments from wherever is easier for you to get from. So then, guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you again, Sarah, for the video request. If you haven't done already, do please give this video a like, because every like really does help the algorithm. And do leave a comment in the comments down below, even a heart or smiley face, because it really does help my channel too. And do subscribe if you haven't done already. Do check my website out, as I mentioned, desertplantsofavalon.com, for lots of growing tips on how you can care for your cacti and succulents on there. And I want to wish you all a bug-free, cactus-powered day. Blast them bugs, guys!